Hi, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to Real Talk. I'm your host, Pat Terrio, and we are here at the Dublin Veterans Hospital, and we're definitely wanting to feature veteran volunteers. And we've got Mr. Dean Swan here, who's the Chief of Voluntary Services. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Nice to be here. All right.
You know, volunteers are so important. And we really want to talk about that and want to meet some of these awesome volunteers that you have back here at the VA. But let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hey, Pat, first of all, let me say thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Carl Vinson VA Medical Center again. On behalf of Mr. Goldman, we're glad to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
And volunteer, let me just tell you a little about myself, too. I've been the Chief of Voluntary Services here for about 3 months here at Carl Vinson Medical Center. What a great opportunity after retirement. I got the opportunity to start my VA career in Atlanta, and this position came open to come out and work with volunteers. You know, I spent some time in the military, working in recruiting and retention field, working with in the communities and working with veterans. Had about 27 years in that uniform.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was fortunate that I got the opportunity to recruit in this area here. So I know a lot about the area and the outlying areas that's near Dublin. And so when the opportunity came aboard, I said, why not? You know, I took care of soldiers in uniform after serving 27 years, retired out as a command sergeant major.
That's awesome.
So I was used to working with different civic groups and organizations. So this gave me my opportunity to, it's kind of funny, when I started my VA career, after retirement, I said I wanted to do some volunteering. I was on my en route to doing some volunteering when I got a call for the interview. So how about that?
That's awesome.
Didn't know that I'd get a chance to actually one day become a chief of voluntary service and really impact our veterans. All right, it's kind of near and to me. From being here at Carl Vinson, I've met veterans that I've served in uniform with, that's in the hallways. So it's kind of personal to me.
Right.
But I get the opportunity to not only thank them for the service, but try to impact their health care here at VA, Carl Vinson VA Medical Center.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly appreciate your 27 years of service.
Thank you.
We really do. That's very commendable.
Right.
And now here you are. You've transitioned.
Right.
You've transitioned. Let's talk about the volunteers that you have here and how important that is.
Well, let me just tell you about the voluntary program itself for the Department of Veteran Affairs. You know, it's one of the largest volunteer programs in the federal system. And those volunteers come from different walks of life. They come from different backgrounds, different ethnic groups.
Right.
But some are actually veterans. They got out of the uniform and they still want to be a part of it. All right. And then you have the volunteers here that maybe didn't serve, but they had a family member or a loved one that served in the military, and they want to take time to give back to the veterans that served us.
Right.
You know, our mission here is to enhance the veteran experience with health care. Right. And through that, we do that with our volunteers as well as donations to Carl Vinson.
Absolutely. Now, what is it that you look for? You know, I have volunteered for the past 20 years, and I consider myself still a volunteer.
Right.
And what do you look for in volunteers that's very important, that's needed in working with the veterans at this capacity?
You know, the first thing I look for is a person that want to serve.
Right.
That they say, you know, obviously if they come to my office and say, I want to serve in some capacity, we're looking for someone that's energetic, someone excited about it, someone that, you know, volunteers tell me each day that not only do they help the veterans, but volunteering actually help them.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
So I'm looking for someone that actually want to be here. Volunteering actually, it's a few reasons for benefits of volunteering. One is that your mental, improving your mental health.
Absolutely.
As well as improving activity. You know, a lot of our volunteers do several, believe it or not, miles walking through this hospital because we're a large hospital.
Right.
And so they get a chance to improve their health, but being a part of something that's bigger than you. Okay. You know, Winston Churchill said that you earn a living by what you get, but you earn a life by what you give. So they get the opportunity to give back to those veterans.
And, you know, you've got some wonderful veterans back here that are volunteers that are definitely giving back.
Right.
And we are certainly glad to have you all here. Now, is it easy or is it difficult? How, if a person wants to volunteer here at the VA, what would they need to do?
Hey, there's a few steps that a person wants to volunteer. One is to contact us here at Carl Vinson VA Medical Center, and it's an application process, okay? we have a duty to make sure that not only that we assist our veterans, but they're safe and they're in a good environment. So with that being said, we also require a background check, okay, which takes a few days for us to fingerprint them and get it back to make sure they're good to go. And after that, we try to find based on their skill sets and their what they would really like to do. We try to pair them up with maybe a ward or a section that they can really make a huge impact.
Right.
Now, some come in and say, I don't know what I want to do. You know, I just want to volunteer. Well, it's okay to try a different area, but, like if you got a student, they're looking for maybe a career path.
Right.
I want to be in the medical field. My mom, my dad was in the medical field. It's a great opportunity for them to see what they would like working in a hospital environment and how do they like working and helping others.
Right.
Right.
So that's wonderful. So we look forward to talking to these volunteers back here.
Absolutely. And the group we have here today, they do a phenomenal job. I always say ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And we have a group of consists of high school students, new volunteers, as well as ones that's been here a little bit more experienced. We also have with us today, I'm excited to have Mr. Tom Proctor, who's done a lot for our community and for Carl Vinson VA Medical Center.
Right.
And he's our Volunteer of the Year, and we're glad to have him here with us.
All right, Mr. Proctor. Okay, well, we'll talk to them in just a moment. Thank you so much, Mr. Swan.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Power, speed, maneuverability, and reliability are just some of the things that make a championship race car. They're also some of the things that make one of the nation's best lawnmowers.
I always expect high performance on the racetrack, and it's no different when it comes to high performance on my lawn. Hi, I'm Richard Petty.
Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Gravely lawnmowers are the only mowers allowed at Petty's Garage.
We are here, ladies and gentlemen, with the Volunteer of the Year, Mr. Thomas Proctor. How are you, Mr. Proctor?
I'm fine, thank you.
Congratulations to you.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a great honor, and I also received the Georgia Elks Association Volunteer of the Year award last month, so
congratulations.
Double blessing there.
You are definitely busy here. You are.
Anyway.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Proctor.
I'm a retired banker. I was a Vietnam veteran. I served in the 101st Airborne Division over there. And basically that's about it. I've done a lot of work around here in different areas of volunteering and that sort of thing. And my daddy was a volunteer out here many years ago, and I just kind of followed in his footsteps.
This is like generational volunteers here. That's wonderful. We certainly appreciate your service, too, as well. Now, how many years have you been a volunteer?
This is my 11th year. So I've been doing it for 11 years.
That's outstanding. And at what capacity, like which areas are you volunteering? Now, I've heard that you're a jack of all trades.
Well, I get a certain amount of money each month from the Georgia Elks Association to use out here at the VA. And we sponsor bingo one night a month out here. We sponsor the Arts and Crafts Festival they have each year. And we also pay for the motel rooms for the recreation group when they come to do their concerts.
Oh, that's great.
Recreation, I'm sorry, is the name of the group.
That is great. So you're actually very busy.
Right, right.
You're very busy.
Right now we're fixed to get involved with helping the hobby shop get its stuff that it needs for the veterans to work on. Like kits and wallets and stuff like that. So we try to stay busy.
And Mr. Proctor, we talk about how important volunteering is, not just for improving the quality of life for the veterans that you work with and the individuals, but for the person, for you. What does volunteering do for you personally?
Well, it gives me something to do. Being retired, I don't have a lot to do. So James mentioned the Vietnam Wall committee that we have going. I'm working on that as well. And just things like that. It's an opportunity to give back, and plus it keeps you pretty busy. So
you're definitely keeping busy now. And you're with the Elks Lodge.
Well, the Elks Lodge is now basically closed. And in
I used to
order
work
for
there
me,
when I was a teenager.
Oh, really?
I did during bingo night.
Oh, really?
I did. I got the most tips.
That was a good night to work there.
Yes, it was.
But in order, when the Elks Lodge shut down 3 years ago, I had to join another Elks Lodge. And, of course, they wouldn't just give me an at-large membership, so
Right.
I picked the cheapest lodge I could find in the state to join because I really wasn't going to be an active member. I was just going to use that as my access to get state funds. So I ended up joining Camden County Lodge down in Kingsland, Georgia, which is 160 miles away. So needless to say, I don't get down there very often.
Right, because you're too busy volunteering. You do know that, right?
Yeah. But anyway, they're helping us out as well. We get money from them. And I just got a thing yesterday saying they had a big order of toiletries that we're going to bring up here and give to the guys in the domiciliary area. So anyway, we try to contribute as much as we can.
And you're definitely doing a great job with that. So talking about being Volunteer of the Year. Now, how do you become Volunteer of the Year?
Well, I don't know. To be honest,
I know they don't draw your name out of a hat. I'm sure it's something, as far as the amount of hours that you put in.
I don't. Well, there's people here, and I'll be honest now. There's a guy here named Gus Albritton that is an all-star.
Oh, wow.
When it comes to volunteering. And so I don't compare to Gus at all. But the only reason I knew that I was going to get it, and didn't really know for sure, but Susan Haywood in Dean's office called me one day and says, "You've got to come to the volunteer banquet next week." And I can't tell you why, but you got to come. So
and lo and behold,
I signed up and went, and I got the program. And when I got the program, I flipped through it, and on the last page it says Volunteer of the Year, Tom Proctor. I said, "Oh, now I know why I had
now
to come."
you know why.
So
now you know
it was
why.
a total surprise because I never ever thought I didn't even think about getting it. It just wasn't something I was expecting.
Right. But
And
the
pretty
thing,
much the same thing with the Health Association Award. They did me the same way.
yes,
They called me and said, "You got to be down at Jekyll Island next Saturday, and
you
we'll
were-
see you then."
and they another award. Well, they
Another
certainly are
award.
honoring the work that you're doing as a volunteer,
Well,
and
I
we certainly at
appreciate it,
TV 35 and here in the Dublin community appreciate everything that you're doing.
It's a lot of fun. One thing I like to say, Dean mentioned this at the banquet. We have roughly, 250 volunteers on a regular basis. We need to double that. Dublin
Yeah.
is big enough to where that could be 200, 500, or
Absolutely.
750. There's a lot of old folks out there like me that don't have anything to do. They could come volunteer if they would.
So definitely soliciting for volunteers
Right.
out there.
And so, anybody out there that's interested, call Susan or Dean at the hospital, and they'll get you set up.
See, that's why you're Volunteer of the Year. You're like really soliciting volunteers. You're like the face of volunteers.
Yeah.
You are. All right, well, we thank you so much,
Well,
Mr.
I
Proctor.
appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thomas Proctor, Volunteer of the Year.
Take control of your future. Start a career in cosmetology today. Helen Powell, owner and instructor of Careers in Cosmetology, boasts a 100% pass rate for stylists. Careers in Cosmetology is a private school that teaches every student as an individual while providing a team-oriented environment. Earn your career fast and gain opportunity for advancement. Get started today. Call Helen Powell at 272-1967. Careers in Cosmetology, solid education since 1985.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Candy Lowry, another volunteer. Hey, Candy.
Hi.
And you're from Rents.
Yes, I am. Rents, Georgia.
Tell us about your
Southern
family.
part of Lawrence County. And I'm a mother of 3. I have a son that is in the Air Force. He's been in there for 10 years, and he's continuing his education at the moment.
Right.
And I have 3 grandchildren. And I'm a retiree from Parker Aerospace for 28 years, and I had another 11 years prior to that, which gives me a total of about 35, 36 years
You've
working.
been busy through the years.
Oh, yes, I have.
And now here you are. You're a volunteer here
Yes,
at the
I
Veterans
am,
Hospital.
and loving it.
And loving it. When did you start here?
I started actually in January, the very 1st of January.
And what capacity are you working in? What areas?
I assist in the dental office, just filing, answering the phone, running errands, and then I had an opportunity to do the work in the escort service, which really gave me the hands-on. And I actually call this my therapy.
And why do you call it that? I understand that, but why do you call it your therapy?
Because it helps me. Actually, when I leave, I feel like I've done something rewarding to help someone else. And I feel like anytime you can lift or encourage somebody else, you're building yourself and others. It's a two-way thing, and it's just great. I just love it. I love this opportunity.
And that's what's so satisfying and rewarding about volunteering, because you're not getting paid. It's a selfless thing that you do, but it's so therapeutic.
Yes, it is.
It's so therapeutic.
Exactly, and I love it. I go home in the afternoons feeling like I've done something. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I think we're all here as a purpose to help one another.
How many days a week are you normally volunteering?
3 days a week, 6 hours a day.
So 3 days a week.
Yes.
Now tell us how your training has been, because people have to understand that volunteers are trained, and you're trained for a certain skill set, something that you may already have. But if there's something new that you want to, an area that you want to work in, you're trained in that area. So tell us about that for you, because you're working in the dental office.
Yes, I am. Well, actually, it's just answering the phone. It's a clerical type setting, and filing, and the girls and the doctors and all up there in the office. The moment I walked in, I felt like I just walked into family.
Oh, wow.
And we fit together so well, and it's just ever since I've been here, it's just been so good. Mr. Swan, 3 months ago when I met him, he remembered my name. That was just so encouraging to me. And every day he would speak to me, and I thought, man, this is a good place to be.
So the environment here is good
The
for
environment is good for me, and I want to make my presence here being good for the patients.
And in working with the veterans, you're doing the escort service, and what does that entail for you?
Helping individuals to different areas in the hospital, actually taking them to their appointments, like if they cannot walk or whatever. It's just so good, and then sometimes you just meet somebody that just want to talk.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. It's just, and you can say encouraging words.
So you provide a listening ear.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Yes, I do.
And something interesting, I just found out that knew my older sister.
Yes.
My oldest sister.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm also a Sunday school teacher at the Church of Jesus Christ.
Look at you.
And my pastor Peggy G. Sapp, that's my pastor. But all of these things all entailed together.
Right.
Because as a young person, I wanted to join the Peace Corps.
Right.
And I never got the opportunity because I was raising a family. And so in doing this, I've had an opportunity to complete my life, and it's rewarding to me.
And that's a beautiful thing, and that's what it's all about, because you're helping others, and in turn, it's helping you. Well, we certainly appreciate everything you do, Miss Candy.
And I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Candy Lowry, everyone. We've got student volunteer Brandon McClain, an East Lawrence Falcon.
Yes.
All right, Brandon, glad to have you here. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself now.
Well, I'm 16, and I'm in the band at East Lawrence High School, and I've been volunteering since last summer.
Brandon, you're 16, and you started volunteering last year. Do you know how awesome that is?
I mean, and it's a very humbling experience. And I know that I'm just 16, but to come out here and see the patients and some of their situations, it's a humbling experience.
For you being a teenager, I definitely want to say, to do volunteer work as a teenager, of course, that's going to be great for your resume.
Yeah. But then that's not the only reason I do it. My grandfather was out here for about a year, and me getting out here and seeing him and seeing the other patients, that just made me want to do even more.
Absolutely. And the community service you're doing, by watching your grandfather and working with the veterans at your age is outstanding. What benefits have you received from this? When I say that, I mean an internal benefit.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own problems, and it just makes me feel like I have no care in the world once I see the veterans and what they're having to go through.
And what area do you work in here at the hospital?
I've actually been with the recreation therapists and working with them, and I've actually been helping Charlene James with the National Wheelchair Games, which is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes, how exciting. So when you're, let's say a day for you, Brandon, in volunteering, what do you do?
I come in at 9 o'clock, and I'm with one of the recreational therapists, and I'll go up with them. They might play a game or something, play cards, listen to music, and sometimes in the mornings I'll just talk with the patients and just give them something to do. And in the evenings, like on Wednesdays, I go with Miss Charlene James, and they take them bowling.
You have a pretty fun job to do,
I
Brandon.
do.
You do know that, right? That's totally not fair to other volunteers. I'm just saying. And so, you know, working in the recreation area, is this something that you can see as far as a future career path?
Definitely.
What do you see in your future with that?
Well, when I started high school, I always said that I wanted to go into culinary arts. But when I got out here and started working with the recreational therapist, that changed my mind to go and pursue being a recreational therapist.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, do you see your other peers volunteering at your age, or do you find that there are fewer teen volunteers?
Well, I've actually got two of my best friends from East Lawrence out here with me, and there's a couple other, but mostly it's older, I mean, not older people, but adults that's out here. And I mean, once the younger generation gets into volunteering, they'll see that it'll make them feel better.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to ask you. If you had a special message to give those teenagers out there that would really encourage them to consider volunteering, not just so much as to get that on their resume, but what it does for you as a person, as a human being, and how you can definitely grow from volunteering.
I mean, it makes you feel better knowing that you're brightening someone else's day.
Well, Brandon, you're definitely brightening somebody's day.
Well,
do you have a good bowling score?
I don't bowl. I help the veterans.
Okay, you just give it to them.
Right.
All right, very good. Brandon McClain, everyone. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
CruiseOne is the largest reseller of cruises in the nation and has been awarded Partner of the Year by Royal Caribbean International, Celebrity Cruises, and Carnival Cruise Lines, as well as consistently being ranked as a top producer by all major cruise lines. Visit our website, www.wesellfun.com, and check out our satisfaction and price guarantee, and you will see why we're #1. While on our website, sign up for eSavers, and you can automatically receive emails on the latest deals as they are released by the cruise lines and land vacation suppliers. Don't let our name fool you. We are more than just cruises. We can also book all of your land vacation needs. CruiseOne is consistently awarded as a top producer for companies such as Sandals, Beaches, FunJet, Apple Vacations, Disney, and many other land-based travel suppliers. Let CruiseOne of Dublin plan your next vacation. We do all the work. All you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Call us today. Remember, we sell fun.
And we have Mr. Nick Wicker here. Hi, Mr. Wicker.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. You know, I almost called you Wicker Basket.
Well, most people ask me about my name, and for some reason, because of the Nick Wicker, I usually have to say it's Wicker like a basket.
Gotcha.
Like that, so.
Well, tell us about yourself, Mr. Wicker.
Well, I retired from industry about 4 years ago, and just felt like I had been pretty fortunate in my life. I was a Vietnam War veteran, served for 10 years, and was much more fortunate than some of my shipmates. So I wanted an opportunity to give something back, and I knew that because I was in the VA system, I had been down to Dublin, and so I sought out the volunteer services, and have been doing it ever since and enjoying every minute of it. I just feel very comfortable when I'm here because I'm around other veterans. I don't feel like I really have to say a lot about who I am or where I am or what I did. I just naturally feel comfortable, and I like to talk.
Right.
So they decided that the best place for me was at the information desk.
I was going to say that.
So I give a lot of directions and just get an opportunity to talk to people, and a lot of them that's all they really want to do is just talk. And it's such a big hospital, it's people sometimes have difficulty finding their way around. So not only giving them directions, but if they need it, we actually walk them to wherever they want to go or push them in a wheelchair. Whatever it takes to make their stay at Carl Vinson the best that it can be. That's what we're interested in doing.
Absolutely. Now, you've been here for about 3.5 years volunteering.
Yes.
And are there different areas that you've worked in outside of where you are now, information system?
Well, I also volunteer at the Vet Center on Riverside Drive in in Macon, which is a veterans mental health clinic.
Oh, wow.
And my wife and I are very active in our church, and we volunteer, cook, and serve at one of the rescue missions about 2 or 3 times a month. Actually, volunteering is sort of in my family. My father volunteered at a rescue mission. In fact, in searching our history, my great-great-grandfather was in the North Carolina 6th Artillery Volunteers.
Oh,
so,
wow. How cool is that?
Yeah, so
you're keeping it in the lineage.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. And it just seemed like a natural fit for me. And I have been very comfortable and made to feel very comfortable since I've been here. And it's something I intend to continue on with as long as they'll have me.
That's great. And and volunteerism, of course, is definitely in your blood. And it's such it's so important and so necessary. You're a grandpa too, right?
Yes, I have 4 grandchildren, a couple of fine young boys, both of which have continued the military legacy.
Yes.
In the Navy. In fact, one of my oldest son is stationed in Bahrain right now.
Oh, wow.
He's an intelligence officer with the United States Navy. So, in fact, a little sad, but a little good as well. My father, just Monday, was buried at Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, wow.
And he got full military honors, and it was something very special to my whole family. So,
our condolences to you and your family, but
Well,
what an
thank you.
honor to be buried at Arlington. I mean, my family's had we have family there, and just to be there, it just, I don't know about you, but I'm sure when you were there, the emotions you felt for your father, but for all the men and women that are out there.
It's definitely something that I hope every American can experience to be there. It really brings them home to what America is really all about.
Absolutely, and it makes everything that you do here that much more important.
I think so too. It's hard to explain exactly how you feel when you're here, when you're able to just, maybe in a day you might meet 50, 100 people.
Right.
But if you can just reach that one person that makes them feel really special, or maybe they come in a little down or confused or whatever, and I'm proud to say after I get a hold of them for a couple of minutes,
Yes.
I can make them feel special, make them feel comfortable, make them know, welcome to Carl Vinson VA Medical Center.
And that's a special gift,
It is.
Mr. Wicker. It is, and so you shouldn't take that lightly. Well, we certainly appreciate everything that you do here at the Veterans Hospital and your whole family, the line of volunteers of what you've done and your acts of service as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today with Real Talk. Thank you so much for watching. The veterans, we appreciate everything that you do and have done. All of the volunteers at the VA and all around, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you all watching Real Talk, and please keep watching.